Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Last year, over 16,000 people became Polish citizens, but that pathway may soon become much tougher. The government is drafting major reforms to the citizenship law, with President Karol Nawrocki proposing to extend the required residency from 3 to 10 years, and the Interior Ministry planning a new, stricter citizenship test, tax residency rules, and stricter integration criteria. So what's driving these changes, and how do they fit into the broader shift in migration policy we're seeing across Europe, from Warsaw to Berlin? Now, to discuss all this, we're joined here in the studio by Piotr Maciej Kaczyński, EU Institutional Issues Lecturer at the European Institute of Public Administration. Good morning, good to have you, and a pleasure as always.
Good morning, good to be back.
So let's start in Poland. What's behind, in your mind, the main goals here of President Nawrocki making it tougher and longer to become citizenship in Poland?
Well, this is all within a narrative of nationalistic anti-Ukrainian sentiment, which clearly President Nawrocki was elected on, and he's trying to deliver on the platform, and that's about it.
Okay, so quite simple, but this extension of residency, we're looking at 3, now it's 10 years. I mean, that's a bit of a jump, no? You know? I mean, it's quite long.
Let's also go to the little fact check, because it's not 3 or 10 years. Effectively, his law would make it impossible to get Polish citizenship, because it would extend it to probably de facto to about 15 to 20 years, and that is a no-go. Under current rules, everybody who's going through that process says that on paper it's so short, but in realistic terms it's much longer, and it's closer to 8 to 10 years already right now.
Okay, I want to ask directly sort of what's behind. You already said, I mean, this is something that he campaigned on, this is something he stands for, but at the same time, if we look at some of the numbers, I mean, I have them here, we're looking at actual Ukrainians who are in Poland. There's obviously that soundbite, it's 1 million people. But then if we really go down to residency, go down to citizenship, I think from the last year, it was only about, as I said, not even 20,000 people become citizenship.
16,000, yep.
Political rhetoric here, not really reality. Why this dissonance?
Right. I mean, it's easier to talk about ghosts, and that is one angle to the discussion. But the other angle to the discussion is about the wave that is coming, because we have seen the same about migration. So this is about citizenship statistics, but migratory statistics. Up to 2018, we were effectively, as the country, exporting more people than there were people coming to the country. So we were the country of immigrants, not of immigration. It started to shift around the year of 2018, where more people started to come to Poland rather to leave the country, and even a couple days ago had the statement, oh, there is more Poles coming back from Germany than going to Germany in any given year. So you have this change of tides. And then the war in Ukraine started with the 1 million people or 4 million people the first year, but about 900,000 today staying in the country. That is much higher number than what we've seen before. And that's exactly what you could argue as well, that this discussion that we are having is ahead of the curve.
Okay, speaking of the discussion, you already touched on migration in general. That's one of the main issues that affects not just Poland, this is a European-wide issue. If we're looking at that as well, I mean, Poland has claimed through that this is a matter of security, migration is a matter of security, being tough, rejecting a lot of the things coming out of Brussels about these location centers, about quotas. I mean, is this sort of a kind of game until someone blinks, or is this actual policy that Poland will hold the course and actually be able to achieve?
It's a multiple points here. First of all, it is about the law that is already there. It should be implemented because the law is the law. And the Poles are saying we are not going to implement it as such because we do not fully agree with it. We did not negotiate it. It's a directive. It's a bit old. It's not necessarily fitting into the current regime. Laws usually are outdated when they enter into force because they are responsive to the problems from yesterday. So that's not really an argument. The Poles are saying they try to be a bit more proactive and engage and attempt to win the argument that this law that is entering into force, that should be respected, needs to change immediately. And they are providing all those argumentation why it should change, and they're winning some points on that.
Okay. Also, I mean, if we're looking at Security Chief, Mr. Szymanek said that suspending the right to asylum, if we go down that pathway in Poland, has become a given. That's what his quote here. I mean, is that even compatible with EU law at this point?
Let's see if it's given. We need to see the courts, which also will take some time before they tell us what are the rules of withholding this right of asylum, because we did not hear from European Court of Human Rights or any other major court on that matter yet, but I'm sure it's gonna come sooner or later.
And also to the point of Poland rejecting a lot of the things that are coming out of Brussels. I mean, we talked about this, I remember, some months ago about this whole migration pact and everything going in phases, and that was lauded as this achievement. It took years, actually, and it seems to, the more now we look at its actual impact and effectiveness, already being rolled back before it's being really rolled out.
Look, because there's lots of fake anticipation, if you please. There are all those narratives about what all those laws will do, and then they are not doing it. They are written by humans for humans, and those ideas are checked with stakeholders ahead of time. So when they are coming into effect, they are realistic, and therefore they are not necessarily a threat to any particular security system or national identity or whatever that you would have, like we have seen over 2 years in Poland right now, with a lot of hype, a lot of rhetoric, anti-migratory rhetoric that actually is not grounded in facts.
Okay, but nevertheless, I mean, if we also play into a neighbor of Poland, Germany, also recently making stricter laws about citizenship, what they called fast track went from 3 years, now it's 5 years. I mean, that's also a part of the discussion. I mean, Germany toughening on this, that will inevitably have an impact on all of Europe, surely.
Look, but Germany had a fast track, and we did not have a fast track. So they are rolling back on the fast track and keeping it as a kind of normal way of doing business, whereas we never had a fast track, and now we are going to change the normal way of doing business. Then we are moving towards countries that effectively are not giving citizenship at all. They exist as such as well. On the other hand, you have those countries that are giving all those golden visas, come to Malta, come to Cyprus, come to Portugal, if only you invest $1 million or so. And then there's no problem getting a citizenship.
So yeah, that's an interesting point there. I mean, that has been around for some time. Do you think that's going to fall away? That hasn't been really criticized that much, but it is a backdoor for maybe not directly criminals, but let's look at those people who may have connections, maybe oligarchs, etc. So is that going to come under scrutiny in your mind?
It has been under scrutiny already for a couple of years, but countries are trying to lure in investments as well, and they are using, or they were using in the past, this approach of trying to convince those wealthy people to move to their quarters. I mean, just a couple of days ago, Angelina Jolie said that she wants to leave United States, but she's just a celebrity, rich one, but there's a number of wealthy Americans who are looking for residency out there. Where will they go?
I want to jump also back more on the security element. If we're looking at the border with Belarus, I mean, that is not just the border of Poland, it's the EU external border. Poland has invested a lot in that. This is also a policy, it seems, that the Prime Minister and the President are aligned with. I mean, just this year, I think it was about 25,000 that were actually, well, let's say, stopped at the border. Do you think that, in your mind, there'll be more of a tension here financially from the EU? I mean, this matters for all of the whole union.
Yes, and the border with Belarus is an extremely interesting one, because this is the one when there's a number of activities that are taking place on both sides of that border, and we'll see where it goes. It's not necessarily escalation. We have seen this escalation with Zapad 2025, with the drills between Belarusians and Russians, and the Polish response closing the border. But then we had the Chinese foreign minister visit to Warsaw, and at least the railway corridor between China and Europe has been reopened. And this morning, there is piece of news from one of the Polish dailies that Poles are actually negotiating with the Belarusians over opening of the border, so de-escalation rather than escalation. At the same time, they are requesting of putting limitation on those migratory pressures, and they are asking for Andrzej Poczobut return to Poland, who's a famous Polish journalist who has been Polish-Belarusian journalist who has been imprisoned in Belarus. And another element to this, couple weeks ago, Americans have negotiated exchange of prisoners with Belarus. So there is certain move, but not in the negative sense, but in a positive sense, between Poland and Belarus. And another element, of course, is all this building block. I mean, we've heard, for example, yesterday von der Leyen was speaking in Strasbourg about the Eastern Bloc and Eastern Shield and all those systems that will be installed here. So this is the attention that this border got from entire NATO.
Yeah, and I think also, but that has very much a security element on, right? It's all about always our security. But also I want to just ask you about the economics of it all, because I mean, right now Poland, well, a lot of Europe, but Poland especially, is still heavily reliant. A lot of that migrant labor that does come from, that's been supplied for quite some years by Ukrainians. Having this policy now of citizenship and stricter rules, I mean, can Poland afford that? Because that inevitably will have some sort of knock-on effect with other migrants coming here, and Poland is seen as less attractive. So how does the economy play into this?
Economy is really tricky and interesting at the same time, because this is like putting water and fire and trying to have something positive. It's risky, because if Poland will be strict and restrict its citizenship, residence permits, etc., it has already the lowest unemployment in Europe. It is a growing economy that is projected to grow in the coming years. It is winning on all those economic elements out there, and it has been a primary center for work, labor, migratory movements from around the world, from the Balkans to the Southern Europe to former Soviet republics. There's a lot of people who are seeking to come to Poland to work. Is it temporary? Is it for longer? It's good to have that discussion, but we should base this discussion on realistic elements.
So in conclusion as well, I just want to get your view, because we have, on the one hand, we have Poland wants more border funding. We want Germany that wants more returns. We want Brussels that seems to want more solidarity. So who's steering, which steering direction will be in your mind then for the next sort of months here?
Well, we can only hope that they actually come together to have an agreement on the point, and the kind of the bully in this is not Viktor Orban for one, it is the German government, because the German government is the one government that has suspended the Schengen code on all of its borders, and Germany is sitting exactly in the middle of Europe, whereas Poles did it on 2 borders, the French did it on multiple borders, Austrians, Slovenians, Italians also on individual borders. So that's really important to get Germany moving on reinstituting the Schengen proper in Europe. And then we can have an additional discussion about how to monitor those criminals, because of course it's not about letting the criminals free.
Right, so it's economics, it's security, but it's going to be a zigzag before we get anywhere. I think, look, Piotr Kaczyński, thank you so much as always. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay tuned, much more coming up right here on TVP World. Goodbye.